Putting that up there and full screen. And as everyone comes on onto the recording, I'd like to welcome everyone to Bridges Live. I'm Dr. Paul, and Bridges Live has several things. This is a show that I like to do. We call information, understanding, and action. And with that, I like to invite my guests to come on and talk about the most amazing things they're doing in this world, because without each other, we will not survive this catastrophe. And I do believe that to be true. So on the line with me and Spirit, like when she says she is here with us, is Mama Fatou. Welcome, Mama Fatou, to Bridges Live with me. Thank you.
Welcome, Dr. Paul. And again, thank you for recognizing our elders. Sometimes folks forget to reach back. I love to talk in terms of proverbs. So when an elder dies, the library burns.
That is so true, and that's why I was so I feel very blessed and fortunate to come talk with you, because I want to hear. I lost my mother in 2017, and my dad also, and then there has been people that's been passed on in our lives, and I've always wanted to reach out to our seniors and to my elders, because there is history, there's education, there's things there for me to learn, but there's things here for our earth to know. And I'm asking you in this, we are missing a couple things. I don't even want to, if people want to find out about you, they can Google you, Facebook you, LinkedIn you, but I really want to get talking to you. What are we missing? We're missing a couple things, Mama Fatu.
Well, I thought about our last conversation and I said, give me a theme. And you said, get our heads right.
Right.
So for many years, I was involved, even though I was a licensed social worker. I was honored to work for a Black psychiatrist, him and his wife both. We had our own nonprofit. So therefore, we had a mental health facility that was able to be Afrocentric and serve the Black community with no contest. You know, every other agency that couldn't handle the quote unquote troubled Black, we got them. So that covered the element of when crack cocaine first came and the mothers were attacked, saving families, saving children's lives. At the same time, there was a blood and Crips war going on. By the way, I'm from Columbus, Ohio. So right now I'm reflecting on Ohio. Bloods and Crips, me at the time being a nation builder, I realized it was more than some Bloods and Crips. You got the folks and a whole lot of things. But all I know is that for 11 years, I was what I call a soldier. Even though I was licensed by the state of Ohio, I was protected by a team of Black psychiatrists. So myself and my team, we would go in crack houses to get mamas or take gangbangers out to the woods on retreats for 2 weeks until they broken down and at least could say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. That process is called rites of passage. A lot of people criticize us here in America making things up, but celebrate the Afrocentric scholars who had sense enough to reach back and go back to tradition. So in that particular process, even with the gangbangers, I was a nation builder, but I was protected by my council of elders.
Now, I don't want you to skip over this, because I think people don't understand. People who don't people There's a lot of blacks, a lot of Africans, Americans who don't understand, and just a lot of people who don't understand what nation building is. So express that to them so they can be caught up.
Well, nation building is just a key word or a component of the whole entire rites of passage process. A lot of people remember Kunta Kinte when the elders told him to go back into the woods with the spears. And when he came back out, they celebrated he was a man.
Right.
To give you an example, we took the Crips and the Bloods and did the same thing to the woods. You know, when you say nation building, the whole rites of passage process is starting with the babies, who we call Watoto.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the pre-warriors. That's the little ones right before they even enter school. Age-wise, a lot of people debate. I try to say from 8 to 10, and then say at 10, you have your pre-warriors. As a Black male, I want you to think of a 10-year-old pre-warrior. You're not
Yeah.
even a warrior, young man, young man, not even a man. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I may be calling you a boy right now. No disrespect, but I'm teaching you the pecking order. You understand? These young men didn't even say yes sir and yes ma'am to their own mothers. Okay, after age 10 or say 11, now you're building that warrior. And that phase may last up until like age 23, because we don't want any adult adolescence in this process. You have to have been completely weaned from your mother's breasts and all that, because you're being prepared to go and work in the community. Uh, and the next phase being a nation builder. And that's where you hear the phrase nation building,
Right.
because you're from that age group.
Yes, yes.
So they're
Yes,
not
I
worried
am.
about the building business, nation building, but I'll be checking into them and make sure that they went through them other steps, because you can't be a nation building and no disrespect, because now you're out here in the community age 32 trying to make some things happening. Your process is not complete if you have not even lived away from your mother.
And there's a maturation, there's a cultivation process that takes place internally, externally, and spiritually and soulfully. That is what we're talking about when we're building.
Right. And we're talking about building. So kind of I'm a visionary. So I'm gonna take you to that process and bring you up to right now. We know what happened to the complexity of the family. And the family had to sit down at the table. What daddy says was right, whether you liked it or not. If you was told to take the trash out, you couldn't say why. We had morals, boundaries, and guidelines. Everybody that I knew that I grew up, whether they were Black, white, or Chinese, even if your parents didn't go to church, you had to go to church, or you couldn't even ask to go out and play.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that comes from responding to order. But see, my parents were married for 56 years. My mother never had to work a day in her life. My parents were from Georgia. They were not rich, but we were very comfortable. If you ask my father, where does your wife work? You're insulting him. He may smack you. What do you mean? Why would my wife have to work when she has me?
Right.
Before my father died, he said, daughter, they don't make men like me anymore.
What
I
what
don't know what he
what do
meant.
you what do you think he meant? That's what I was going to ask you. What do you think he meant by that?
My father was self-educated, didn't go past maybe 11th grade. I'm a Boeing kid, where he retired from what is now North American Rockwell Boeing now, where he worked for 36 years. He was a workaholic, and he felt that spirit is what kept him and took him from the South, and never had to be poor or anything. He comes from knowing after working hard that he could come home to a hot meal, that his wife took care of the kids. He didn't have to deal with none of the mama drama. And we were raised not to disrespect daddy. He may be grumpy, but you don't know what this man went in that white man's world every day to go out here for you to live in a nice home.
Mhm.
And all of my neighbors and all of my friends had a mother and father in the house and a daddy that worked. So I'm a proud baby boomer. I don't know nothing about no baby mama, no child support check, no none of that. Because if we had that, everybody makes mistakes. Then
Right.
we had shotgun weddings. You and whatever you was doing, you got to stop, because now there's a baby, you got to get married. And that was a community thing. White men knew the power of that. And you had to go to the nurture and the spiritual. That was my mother in the house cooking. And it's like dangling a carrot. What if they had Percocets back then and my mother said her back hurt? That's all it takes. But he understood. And here comes cocaine. When you take the spirit of the family away and you have mama out here spooked out, you have young men growing up disrespecting their mother because they've seen their mother do things they wouldn't want to see a dog do. and their daddy wasn't there to protect them or their mother. And so they're angry and they're ruthless. And the only sense of family they have is the hood. And the hood ain't nothing disrespectful. That's just dysfunctional communities that we got where boys are raising boys. So it's an adult process. You know how you catch them? Catch these young people at age 20 trying to make a career out of going to prison. In Ohio, we had a rites of passage process. We would go to the courts, let this young man come here, let us have him for a year. You know, we would make sure he was housed. He would have to go through the rites of passage in the woods and get on his knees and cry, all of that. And if he got shining stars from us, his whole record was expunged. He never had to go live in prison. And the courts want that. Take this off of my hands. But we don't have that. We have a lot of people talking. We have a lot of people debating. We cannot come to the conclusion that we will never agree on everything. And a lot of things that we're debating about right now are not even debatable.
What are we debating? What are the things that, because, I understand, and I understand what you mean, but I want you to, what are we debating that's just clouding our judgment? So what is out there that we keep debating that we don't need to debate because it's already there?
Well, you and I started this conversation. I said, here it is, 2021. Everybody's excited. Here's Biden. He's not the great white hope, but
That's
we
right.
got the monster out of the office. Okay, don't sit back and on Facebook and yangy, this and that. We have to have an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid as an elder, when I come from generation former Black Panther, I was loving me, call me a Black woman, but some of y'all offended. I'm not Black. I have some friends saying, I've never seen a Black person in my life. You know where my current rites of passage is right now, age 72, and I'm blessed to still be able to do that. When I knew that my work had been done in Ohio, I didn't want to sit back and crochet. I'm Muslim. I got on my knees and I said, Allah, direct me. And you know where I'm at? The heart of where it all started, in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
Charleston or South Carolina before in my whole life. And everything that you're asking me now, this is a total empty glass, bruh. And
Right.
you know why? We abandoned this. We, like my family, so happy to go up north. I went to Ohio State, got my Ivy League. I don't want to talk about Georgia. We up these people down here in a broken condition.
Yeah.
And if you see Trump on TV, you come down here and you see the results of that life. You see the difference between a homeless person on the street and a guy who has 3 yachts.
Yes.
And there's no in between. And there's nothing in place, no nonprofits, no systems, no NAACP to do anything about it. And I sat here. I've only been here 18 months, Dr. Dyer, and the light just came on. I sat here and I listened to this debate between Jamie Hairston and Lindsey Graham. He said, listen to you people. South Carolina's always been conservative. It's going to remain conservative. And Lindsey's too liberal for South Carolina.
That's what he said.
Okay, I no longer see red and blue, black and white. I see liberal or conservative because that's their new language. This country is divided down the middle with them, right? Okay, yeah. They got to decide which side they're going to be in. Don't be asking, is they red or is they blue? Ask, are you liberal or conservative? Because that's their language.
Is it?
You can't get mad when you find out it's your coworker or the guy you've been buying a cake from. And that's where you get your mind right. Because that's like the spook beside the door. You got the information now. Life is a chess game. We passed moving the first pawn. And our pieces ain't never been white. And it's just not, it's right in front of us because we debate. And you said, what are we debating about? We're debating about who we are, even though we didn't went all the way back to the origins of civilization, as far back as Lucy. you know, so you really know who you are. I don't want to offend anybody.
Right, right.
If you in my face, even though I'm educated and got degrees, I consider myself a revolutionary hood rat. And you get up, you make me upset. I'll call you a nigger in a minute. And if you're offended, you should be,
Mm-hmm.
because you're acting niggerish.
Yeah.
Okay, my PhD friends, they get on my nerves in these Zoom meetings. I call them Negroes because I'm not going to call you a nigger in front of these white people. But now you're acting Negroish. And, you know, as revolutionaries have identified them as the boule.
Yeah.
Nobody's heard of the boule. You Google that.
Yeah, I know who they, but I've been brought up on the word.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not an Illuminati.
No.
It's a collection of those black folks. And we call them the boule.
But doesn't that come from still the division between the house Negro and the field Negro?
Exactly, my brother. And that's all it is. Now it's 2021. You got bilingual language, X generation, all that. Y'all can call it boule if you want to. They may not even have a secret society where they meet. It's a mind thought. If
Yeah.
I say you're a black person, it's a mind thought. If you're a Negro and you say you ain't never seen a black person in your life, you need to bring your behind down here to Charleston, South Carolina, because these are some very melanated folks down here.
Yes, they are.
I'm your complexion and I'm light.
Yeah.
So we don't know how can you talk about something that you never even experienced? You got you have the Pan-Africanists arguing with each other. You got the L's and the Bays and the Ra's and all that. You know, who's blacker and bluer and who got more knowledge than this and that. You got all of those debates, which lead nowhere. In the meantime, you do have these other generations listening to that. Would you want to join any of that? Would you,
No.
if you were 19 right now, would you really be convinced that your vote counted? Because we're sitting around in the marketplace airing dirty laundry, which is jargon and it has no solution. And so myself and you, I refuse to sit at those tables. There's a rap song, the young man got a headache. He said, I'm not going back and forth with nobody. I feel like I'm not either. Because as an elder, I'm honored to say what tables I can sit at. And if your glass is completely full, you don't need this elder's knowledge.
Right. Because
And
you're not ready to listen. They're not ready to listen anyway.
no, and so that's the jargon, and that's where you have to decide, because you're close to being an elder. You're still a nation builder. You got to decide what tables you're going to sit at. You know, I'm a name caller. And I'm gonna tell you in private, and if it gets out, I'm woman enough to have this conversation with him, and I don't think he wants it. But Boyce Watson, I think that's his name.
Dr. Boyce Watson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll say something that's just totally just to get, you know what I'm saying, start conversations. And you got too many people tuning in to listen to you. You know, for example, I'm a Muslim. Well, you know, all the Muslims do this and that. Bro, you are too intelligent to make a stupid statement like that. You know, and he graduated from OSU. We have a lot in common, but he tries to shut my mouth because I'm challenging you on what you're saying. We don't need no more drama in the hood. What is the point of that?
Isn't that creating separation with ourselves? Still, again, it's still the separation between the house Negro and the field Negro.
Right, or the have and the have nots. That's a new, millennial.
Classes.
But we even got a program, the have and the have not. You're sending out messages of division. You got some people growing up that I don't care what it takes. They're not going to be poor. And you're not going to step, because they understand poor, I'm not going to get anywhere. They don't understand you need to have education. That's not quick enough.
Right.
I'm not going to be poor. So anything that is like dangling a carrot in front of a hungry man's face. And we talk language where we're so happy about giving that hungry man one freaking fish. And that makes us feel because we can get on YouTube, take pictures. Yeah, I gave Harry a, this and that. I challenge that too, because that means nothing to me. How is Harry going to leave tomorrow? That's not social change. United Nations put out 17 social goals, and Black people don't even discuss them. I had to come up every day and understand which one of those social goals I need to address. I come to Charleston and I wasn't around oceans before. Now I invested in water, life water, climate control. We got to wake up and we got to move the hell around. And you know where I'm down here? I'm surrounded all my little rich retired for AKAs, your husband then died, insurance money, and they go running back and forth to Africa all the time. And I refuse to go with them because I'm not going to Africa as a tourist. You should be going to Africa to build. I said, why don't to be an example? And I've been a part of the new African nation for years, the 5 states. Did nobody pay no attention? They ain't never gonna give us those. They don't have to give it to you. Overpopulate those 5 states. Take all your resources down there. Yeah. My own son, educated, master's degree. Mom, you going down there? Them Negroes drinking out of wells. And that's my child. You know what I'm saying? They are not drinking out of wells. And there's some very middle class, affluent Black people down here that took advantage of education, that took advantage of military, that took advantage of return from the Port Authority. They're only 56 years old and living high on the hog compared to you. Come down here. There's a bunch of land. And come down here and build. Lee, if you retire, why are you still sitting up there paying the mortgage in Ohio? Why are you paying? I'll challenge them. Why are you paying the mortgage at 70-something years old, period? You need to be liquidating. You cannot take that land and that house, which is an appendage upon that land, because you don't own nothing.
Well, they got you mentally attached to something that it was never yours anyway.
Was never yours anyway. But then I'm gonna tell, when I tell you, you could kind of duplicate African life, come down here. They're still building houses. They'll live on a mobile unit while they're building a house. They got land. You could be on an acre. Okay, when you go to Africa, $5,000 and they'll build you a $30,000 home. But until you come down here and sweat and go out and peel some corn and show that you're ready, what did Marcus Garvey say? I don't want half of y'all even going to Africa. So my job is at least learn how to survive down here in New Africa, because I might have to go to the motherland when they decide whatever they're going to do over here. I don't have to stay here.
That's right.
They may blow this place up in 5 years. What are you going to be hollering about? The president? What is the government going to do? You better do and prepare now. Because what if all of a sudden we as Black people don't even qualify for a passport?
They're working that way now.
Yeah. So, and I never would have been in the field. I would have never made it to the house. They would have threw me off the boat, Dr. Paul. Because you took me from my mama and I don't know where I'm going, and I'm going to get my brothers together. So they would have threw me off to the shark. So I celebrate the house Negro. I celebrate the field slave. Because if they hadn't have done any of that, I wouldn't be here now.
I wouldn't be here now.
And I'm a proud descendant of an ex-slave. I was born in 1949. My mother and father were born in 1917 and 18. Now you listen to me. I knew my grandmother. She died when she was 10. So didn't that mean she lived in 1800?
Yes, ma'am.
So wouldn't you be crazy not to sit down and listen to me and understand what grandma said? You know what I'm saying? Because she didn't write nothing in no books. She died a rich lady. She never had a bank account. She kept all her money up under her skirt or in her bra or in some brick walls. And she made everything. She didn't trust anything. She made her own butter, her own sausage. I saw chickens killed. If anybody had experience down south, you see one body part, but look at this generation that don't know nothing about that. All they know is Kentucky Fried Chicken and
Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Oh my God.
I'm not even going to get into the whole Chick-fil-A, which was if people didn't like Trump, but Chick-fil-A was a Trump supporter and they still shopped there and ate there. Okay.
Well, Starbucks went off about a young man waiting and went ugly 5 years ago.
Right.
And you know, right now, all high school Negroes, boulets, and everybody, Charleston, meet me at Starbucks. All these cultural geeky places to go.
Geechee.
But you want to get
Yeah. Oh, if people don't understand what a Geechee person is, you got to look that one up. I'm gonna
yeah,
let that one.
yeah, let them Google that one up too. 'Cause remember, I'm from Ohio, young man. This is New Day, right? So I'm saying, and I'm going around, bro. Could you repeat that? Hey, I love you from the bottom of my heart, but bro, what did you just say? You know, so you tell me if I'm not still on my rights of passage as an elder. I cannot keep teaching and passing information as I stop, put on my hat, sit on my crown and talk about what I know and I'm done. And I don't know what I know you know who my favorite rappers is, Lil Baby. I know the lady down the street with the dentures don't know who that is, and I don't expect you to, boo. But don't
Right.
get upset if you hear it cranking out of my house in the morning. That's revolutionary music.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to hear the blues. I'm Charleston. I'll go kill somebody. So right now, use me as an example. What do elders do to get their mind right? Start with these conversations right here. Take
Yes.
your titles off, put your book girl panties on, and get real and decide and use it as a blueprint. Out of these 17 goals that I'm to present you, where do you feel you could fit in most? You know, it could be female rights, and you don't have to leave your house, baby. Everybody's zooming. You know, what do you have to bring to the table?
Is that because there's something about service, and I'm a big serve humanity, serve. And I believe that we are so broken inside that we don't know how to serve.
We don't know how to serve, but we know how to volunteer.
That's not the same.
I know it's not. So, but you see what I'm saying? You humbly volunteer and you go out, like I said, give out soup dinners and all that. But you know what I'm saying? But if I say serve for a cause, and Brother Paul and I are calling you to say, rally around the Port Authority for transportation. Or what about the turtle starving on the plastic? You know our people ain't for that. You know how you have to get them there off them a free Chipotle sandwich and some music. And they'll come. Now that's the state of mind that we have to clean up. And I'm glad we can laugh about it.
But it's still a state of mind that has to be cleaned up.
It's house cleaning. You wasn't raised like I was. I would proudly say I don't know nothing about no daddy in no house. So don't talk to me from that format. I
Right.
posted today. I said, no, boo-boo, don't tell me nothing about no all men don't come through, because my man came through. Stop the jargon. I don't want to hear. I raised 2 sons as a single mother before I got married. I don't know what a child support check looked like. I don't know what the ink looked like. None of that. I ain't chase him around for no damn diapers, and I'm proud to say that. Both of my sons are college graduates. And I'm proud of that. And guess what? I never took them away for their daddy. So when all that was done, they could take pictures and photo shots with their daddy grinning with their diplomas, and have a life after that.
Right.
Don't be bitter, because if he was a scum bucket, he was a scum bucket when you threw your legs open. And it's a dual responsibility. And baby, if he did not rape you, you got to get up off your back and handle your business, because now you're getting ready to be a mama.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first responsibility. So what the system do with that? Oh, I feel you, baby girl. Let me come in there. I'll go chase the Negro and I'll get you a check, and you can lay on your butt and smoke weed and go get another man. And if he miss a beat, I'll put his ass in jail. Well, I'm proud to say.
I'll go do that for you. Yeah.
Well, Mama
That's what
Makeda
the
is
system did.
proud to say I ain't never did that in my life. Never felt I had to do it. And you ought to hear me getting cussed out by my peers. And you know how I sell, and I don't even, this is an in-girl conversation. Well, Sister Kitty, you just don't know. And I said, I'm not here to hear your belly ache. And I don't mean to disrespect you. I'm putting my hand on my heart. Whatever happened, we all got an experience. I just ain't told you mine, but you laid down. You laid down. Some of y'all have gone through that trauma, got DNA, because the man know it wasn't his baby.
Right.
So you was a hoe. And I can tell you that. You know why? Because your mama must have didn't, girl. And that's community rites of passage. And I shouldn't get spit on. I shouldn't be called no B or nobody. People should be spinning around me like Suge Knight, making sure that girl don't get out of line when I check her. And that's what's missing. Because I done been cussed out. I get cussed out once a week, Brother Paul. And I'm kind of getting tired of it. I would take a broom and old fashioned and knock one of them's head up. But I'm saving that energy for the real life revolution.
Because
it's
coming.
It's coming. And we got to do house cleaning. And we got to help finish raising those who weren't raised. They got to understand what being properly raised is. Don't be offended if I say you need parenting classes, because you do. You know, I told one young lady, that's not classy. There you go with that European card. What's classy mean? I said, you know what? I wouldn't expect you to know what classy is. I beg your pardon. I'm asking you to be something you don't have a clue of. And you missed 4 years of Michelle Obama. They say we ain't got no role model. That was the classiest Black woman I've ever seen. Her. Yeah, so you don't even recognize classy when you see it. Right. You recognize thought. You recognize ratchet.
Right.
And you go get your titties inflated to play that role.
Again, a role that wasn't meant for you to play anyway.
And I could fault you guys, because I wouldn't want no silicone Botox broad. I'd be thinking something gonna fall off or bust. You know that. So you know, and then they got, you know, when you deal with the transgender, there's men that get that same cosmetic surgery that had their penis removed. And so you don't know. All this booty hopping and jumping and not building no relationship. You ever heard the word courting? No, the extra. What is courting? Dating. Yeah. And you have to go meet somebody's daddy before you go knocking the boots and all of that.
Actually, courting is different than dating.
Well, yeah, courting. And break it down, because I could tell you it's race, right? Break it down. Yeah. Courting. And I come from a generation of courting. Do you know that one of the beautiful things about Islam is, and a lot of people don't know this, and why there's a lot of marriages and rush marriages, a man technically is not even supposed to hardly make eye contact, let alone holler at a woman, unless in his long-term goal is to marry her. So that's why Muslim men mind their business, trying to look, you know, they're very selective about what that person who they might have to spend the rest of their life with.
Right.
Well, you got other Black people looking at Muslim women like they're in misery. No, they're, yeah, you know.
No.
We have to talk. I've been around young men, the Somali girls, they got back. Mm-hmm. In Ohio, it's about 10,000 Somali girls with them big old butts. I be sitting around young brothers. I can tell they got something up under them clothes, and sitting up and maneuvering how to disarm the woman just to have sex.
Yeah, disarm them is right. And disarm them means spiritually, emotionally, and soulfully. That's disarming a woman.
That's terrible. So that's what I'm saying, getting our minds right. That is a whole series and dialogue that if you come up with a frame, man, my passion is community service. You might have somebody that is a genius on herbs and optimal health. And we're big on right now, building our immune system. We need to have those conversations. Make sure people are eating right, especially if, you know, the whole chicken sandwich thing, and I'm down south. I don't know no person down south that don't know how to fry chicken. So what could have been about that damn sandwich? I don't understand.
I don't get it either.
That's a mindset. And we have to stop that. I don't understand people getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, lining up to pay $200 for tennis shoes. I come from the all-star generation. You sew them if they get holes, you put in the washing machine to get clean. You know what I'm saying? Happy if you got your brother's shoes. You know, when you start, this is why they don't want to worship God. You're worshiping shoes, music, rap stars. You ain't got time for no creator.
Well, that keeps them broken too. That keeps them, so whether they worship, how you want to call it, they spend their money on not, and I want to use this word very strongly. Educating doesn't mean things in school. It means things you are taught. They spend less time being educated and more time doing other things. So,
Mhm. And that's just like saying, now everybody thinks the dust is settled, and they think as long as I'm strapped, I'm okay. The revolution and security and safety for us is bigger than guns.
yes,
So I'm in Charleston. Ain't nobody in Charleston that don't have a shotgun. Cause this is people were raised learn how to hunt. I come from a hunting family. So you got knuckleheads running around thinking because they can't have a pistol in their sagging pants that they can't have a gun. You can't have the damn gun you want, but you can't tell me you can't go get a shotgun.
right.
And it's not that complicated. No, you can't walk around the street in it. I'm sorry, homie. But we're talking about protecting your home. And that's why that's all you need is a shotgun. You don't need to be threatening nobody unless they're threatening your home. You don't need to be walking around. Now, yes, people are shooting at you and the police are so I got mixed, I have mixed feelings about gun control. And that's a whole nother conversation. But if everybody is disarmed at the same time, that includes Trump, me, and you, then nobody should have guns. But we know that's insane.
Right, right, right.
And I'm not going to be target packers. And Mama Makeda got hers popped and loaded, as he said, ready to go in case any of these so-called red folks get really upset on the 20th. Because as an elder, it's like I hear, you remember the talking drums?
Yes,
It's like
ma'am.
I hear a silent drum in the background. And as the 20th come, it's going to get louder.
The messages is rippling.
Right. And I don't want us to be here and there's a drum call coming and I can't even hear the beat. So now we got to meditate, withdraw, maybe don't even have some community conversations and be in tune
Be
with the
silent.
spirits, be silent, be in tune on what's going on around you. And trust me, you'll be prepared for whatever move they make because we have never had the opportunity to crawl up the walls of the Capitol and get to the third floor without all of us being massacred. So if you don't understand that that's an inside job, then that's the biggest conspiracy that you need to get in your head and understand. And that should give you the creeps, especially when they say we have Homeland Security. It's a joke. That's a whole nother budget that needs to be disbanded, billions of dollars, because that's some money that they're collecting probably for skinheads or something. But it ain't the Homeland Security to make sure that we're secure if you can't secure the own Capitol building. And you had a retard just leave office. He's been tried and convicted. He's not intelligent. We want him to go to jail. Impeachment don't mean nothing to the uneducated man. Why ain't that man went to jail? You know? So right now you can't tell the average uneducated Negro in the hood with grill in his mouth, thirsty, that he's doing anything wrong.
Right.
That's why we gotta have community. Come on. Come on, for real. You know how I get them? These young boys, you're mad at your mama. You ain't got no daddy. You ain't got sense enough to get a woman. But boy, when I go to cooking them collard greens and grilling in the yard, here y'all come.
Here you come.
I got homie over here cutting the grass. I ain't feeding no, and I'm doing rites of passage in my yard, buddy. Then you can do the same thing. Go get some brothers in your community and go identify the threats to the community. Invite them Negroes over for a barbecue. Play their stupid music.
And talk to them.
And talk to them.
In their ear.
In their ear. And we as adult people, culturally, they're playing with us with marijuana. They grew up with hard drugs. We've had marijuana all the way back to the hippies in our day. If you're having some of these conversations, you boule and your elder, let the boy smoke some weed. If you think I'm going to put him in the corner. But we got to get healthy on what we pointing our fingers at, putting our labels on. Look what Dr. Karinga had to go through to get everybody to accept Kwanzaa. That Negro did. I don't care nothing about what he did. Can you look in the mirror too?
Right. Can you? And be proud of it?
And be proud of it? So that's what I call house cleaning. That's what you call get. And a couple of Negroes might have to get smacked. A couple might have to go out in the yard, and a brother throw them up against it. Everything that you got when you was raised, Brother Paul, everything that I got, I wasn't no bad kid. So it didn't take a whole. I didn't have my mama beating me with coat hangers and things, But I had friends who did. But I didn't say that. I didn't think their mama was crazy. I'd be saying, boy, what do you keep doing to make your mama do that?
Right. What do you keep doing that keep triggering this? Stop doing that.
So just that you and I having this conversation was awesome to me because you said something that touched my heart. 8 years ago, remember I said I had a mom and a dad for 56 years, mom in the house every day. My mom got Alzheimer's. My dad asked me to come home. I stopped everything I did, moved in to take care of my mom. I didn't know by then she was full blown, but they're in their 80s. He held on as long as he could. But when she wouldn't eat or go to the rest, he called me. I'm the oldest. I came home. Eventually, my mom passed because people don't even know. When they tell you your mom has Alzheimer's, she's getting ready to die. I didn't know that. So you need to know that. You need to know that hospice is here. But because, coming from a social work, it was a peaceful journey. But 1 year later, my dad died. You know why? From a broken heart.
Broken
That
heart.
really is real. It's
Yes.
really real. And I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't get the memo for that. And so your what you went through, because you lose them both together. Oh my God, I ain't got nobody's shoulder to cry on. My husband may not even want to hear my woe is me today. So that's when you got to put your big girl and your big boy panties on. And now you can understand the dialogues and the conversations you refuse to have. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
got a better heart for Tamir Rice's mama, because you know what it is. You less preparing. God forbid if I left my child. You're more compassionate than the Negro on Facebook, debating, in between, puffing on a blunt, never left the house. Because I'm a social worker. I can tell, well, you was doing that at 6. You sitting there waiting on a comment at 5. I done went to work and came back.
Came back and you still here.
Just like I told everybody, I never had a Twitter account until everybody say you don't know what Trump is doing till you check his Twitter account. I thought that was a retarded statement, but at 3:00 in the morning, bored, I look on Twitter. He's tweeting like a maniac.
Yeah.
But then at 8:00, there you are, squeaking orange again and ready to deliver business. I come from 30 years of service. I've been saying from the day set, y'all worried about the man being a criminal. He's also a drug addict. Ask him to pee. He has to have help to act like that. If your friend was acting like that, your neighbor, you say, Paul,
You would
come
know
on, man.
something.
The man, come on. He's taking something. I don't even care if it's Percocet.
Right. It's something. Doesn't matter what it's something. Right.
Yes. His manic narcissistic behavior has been supplemented by drugs. And his wife is probably on him too. And I would love to be a wife, but because, oh my God, she can't wait to get out of there.
She can't wait. We know it. We know it. We know it. We don't. She. I don't want to talk bad about her, but she has been the least woman in the White House that we've ever not heard from in our entire lives.
At all. We don't even quote what she dressed, what she wore.
Nothing. I mean, it was a total blackout of anything. It's actually incredible because I was actually, people always talked about Trump, and I was just say, we have not even heard that she went to the store. Like nothing. Like it was completely clean. Like, why is that? What was going on there?
Okay, well, bruh, I know you got some educated friends that that are chauvinistic and control freaks, and their wife don't go nowhere either. You know what I'm saying? For real. Hey, bruh, I noticed she's at the company. Oh, she's fine. Those kind of guys, you don't know what's going on in that damn house.
Well, that says a lot about the house, actually.
Yes. And we keep hush hush about Uncle Johnny following cousin Susie, and that's incest. You talking about these white people? There's generational incest in our community that needs to be addressed.
Yes.
You have given There, you've given pastors, those Southern pastors, a pass. If your husband's not satisfied, me, see, I'm gonna go there because if you're gonna hold the house clean, you gotta clean up all the mess.
You gotta get in the corners. You just can't vacuum the middle of the room and call it the house is clean.
No, and you know, I would start by burning sage because I could smell evilness, wickedness, and I tell Black women, you are some very hateful, malicious people, especially when you're hurt.
Yeah.
You don't even know how to support each other. If I say Susie got a new mink coat, where's she still at? What nigga gave it to her? Why can't you celebrate the fact that she has this mink coat? And I'm not gay. I would tell another woman, you look good today, girl.
Mm.
We don't know how to celebrate each other. But you sit back and look at these raunchy women on reality TV.
And celebrate them.
And celebrate them, quote them, and emulate how they dress and talk. And when you can take, my test was, because I got caught up into that, trying to understand that. So then when you come up with the one with the medicine wives, where you got a dentist, you got doctors, educated women, and they throwing each other in the pool and pulling off their wigs too, I'm insulted.
Wow. I didn't even know that was a show.
Check it. It's called Medicine Why. One of them is they're down in Atlanta. They're physicians, doctors, and it's terrible. And it embarrassed me because it let me know you can give some Negroes education and money and everything. They're still going to act ratchet. And some people of our people, because they didn't complete that rites of passage process, they should never have millions of dollars. That's like Michael Tyson. Michael Tyson never was able to grow up.
And I have some inside thing about Michael. When he got in with Costamano, he was saving him. He was a blessing for him when he went upstate New York. But when he died, his whole life got crumbled, because Mrs. Costamano couldn't take care of him. He was already a pro boxer. He already had the money. So there was he was still so brokenly damaged. And of course, that type of system that we're living in, that social system, I'm not even going to say they took advantage of him, because the system is what it is. And if you're weak enough, you break within the system. And I think does that make sense? Because I think
in a way,
we get so used to saying the system took advantage of me. No, you were so broken, you didn't know that you were falling into being, prostituted with the system. So there's a difference.
A thug from his.
You're breaking up just a little bit, Mama Fatou. Mama Fatou? I think we lost our signal with Mama Fatou, and I just want to say, if she can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you now.
There, she's back. Okay.
Robin had to move her mother in the house for fear of Michael.
Right.
Because of his barbaric way of approaching her about sex.
Yes.
That's when I felt so sorry for him. I said, oh my God. Another example was nothing wrong with Kanye West until his mother died.
Right. He was broken.
Okay. And again, what happened, Savior? White people. That's why you have a lot of people saying that y'all can't fix us. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't prepare me for my brother and my sister. And so you've sheltered me. I talk a different language. I come from an entitled world. I'm so disconnected. It's almost worse than being born mixed breed, trying to find where I fit in. So even that has to be handled in a different way. These people should not allowed to be. They should go to a council of elder or something. Yes, you can house and take care of this child, but the community has to be involved in that process.
Right.
But what do? They just come pick out our kids. We're not involved in that. We don't have a voice. And guess what? The system is set up where most of us can't even go adopt Black kids, and people need to say that. You can't pass a piss test. You might have had a drunk driving. All it takes is one mark, and you can't adopt no Black child. My house would be full right now. I'm 72 years old, but I refuse to do that when I'm sitting around seeing that I would rather empower, make these young parents step up and take responsibility. I'm not going to be a dumping ground for you and your kids, because it's going to be just like we said, Mike Tyson. I could raise 17 kids and give them all the love, but then when I'm gone, they're broken.
They're
They're
broke.
going to be running around looking for their mommy who still might be on crack. You know,
Hmm.
bro, we got so much work to do. They can't nobody have no titles. Everybody needs to have an agenda, stand up and just figure out, where do I step in
Well,
and do
Mama,
your business.
well, Mama Fatou, I'm gonna have you back on next month. I'm gonna ask you that right now, out in the open. You take your time, you relax. Happy birthday and happy anniversary. It's a blessing to have you on. I'm gonna let you rest now, and it's been a blessing for me to be able to talk to you on air, off the air. But I'm very happy. Thank you so much, Mama.
Well, guess what? You're officially in my rites of passage ring, and you and I are going to talk. I'm going to give you the tools to continue as a being an awesome nation builder, and that'll be my baton that I pass to you.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day. Hotep, Assalamu alaikum, Alafia, and Zalut, and all those good things. Have a wonderful day.